Greetings, fellow cultivators. Welcome to Auto Nova. Remember to like and subscribe to support the journey. Today, we're diving into the story of what's the point of cultivating immortality if you don't have money. Listening to Xiong explanation, Jiang Yu asked another question. Why can Xiong be saved if I participate in the assessment? Xiong supported her chin with one hand and said faintly, I can recommend you to participate in the Divine Assistant Personnel Assessment as a recommender. And after you become a Divine Assistant, you can bring your own intern. Jiang Yu understood, temporary worker outsourcing intern, ha. Xiong continued, after becoming an external member of the 8 main gods, I will take you to Songyang High School to talk with the student union and support you. Then for the next 6 months or so, as long as I stay in Songyang City before going to college, this shouldn't make things difficult for you for the time being. Go to Songyang High School to talk? Support us. What is your identity? How many points did you score? How much money do you have? Can you really support us? Seeming to see Jiang Yu's doubts and worries, Xiong didn't say much, just said faintly, I am the #1 senior in Beilong High School, and also the strongest high school student in Songyang City. The strongest high school student in Songyang City. If Jiang Yu from his previous life heard these words, he would only think, oh, not bad, pretty good. But now hearing Xiong words, he only felt that the sister in front of him was emitting dazzling light. Anyone who has studied in a high school in Songyang City knows the value of these words. That is definitely a title that can only be obtained after experiencing self-destructive cultivation that sells the soul time and time again, paying buckets of blood and tears, and stepping on the corpses of countless high school students. So Jiang Yu asked again, what specific work does this divine assistant do? Work? Xiong tilted her head. You don't need to do any specific work, just receive money on time every month after you have this identity. Jiang Yu understood again, isn't this a free ride? Has this kind of good thing finally come to him? Jiang Yu quickly asked again, what exactly is the exam about? Xiong shook her head. The specific content of the exam is randomly generated, I don't know either. But according to my understanding of divine assistance, the higher the Tao heart, the better, and the stronger the willpower, the better. Tao heart and willpower. Jiang Yu nodded slightly after listening. Could it be that the examination room is in the spirit realm? That's right. Xiong stood up and said as she walked out, the examination room is in the spirit realm. I will send you the online address for the exam registration later. If you register today, you should be able to participate in the assessment tomorrow. Remember to ask the school for a day off tomorrow. Also, I will send someone to lend you a spirit realm mask for the exam later. Saying that, Xiong had already walked to the door. Finally, remember not to reveal my sibling relationship with you to anyone. If anyone asks, just say I appreciate your talent. Looking at Xiong leaving back, Jiang Yu thought for a while, and first sent a message to Su Haifeng, asking the other party for leave. Then he ignored whether the other party agreed or not, and temporarily put down his phone to think about what preparations he should make next. Tao heart, willpower, and the examination room is in the spirit realm. Jiang Yu decided to believe what Xiong said, and thought according to the other party's guidance in his heart. To improve Tao heart and willpower, the heavenly martial heart refining technique is definitely the most useful. Tonight, I will rush this exercise again. However, thinking that this matter is more important and related to the future of himself and by Zhenjin, Jiang Yu planned to add more weight, fight it, and make the exercise rush even more fiercely today. He picked up his phone and contacted Wang Hai. Teacher Wang, I want to buy some medicine. Wang Hai was overjoyed when he heard this, and almost couldn't help but laugh out loud. Finally, the body refining genius and golden core disciple in his class is willing to buy medicine from him. At this moment, Wang Hai felt relieved, as if he had seen a lost student returning. He thought for a while and said, what kind of medicine do you want? Jiang Yu said, a medicine that allows me to practice martial arts all night without rest. The side effects and damage to the body must be minimized as much as possible. The quality must be good, and the price is not a problem. I only need it for tonight, so I don't need too much. Jiang Yu thought that although the original owner had overdosed on drugs before, he had recuperated for so long, and his physical strength had greatly improved. Now, in order to fight for tomorrow's assessment, taking a trip with drugs should not be a big problem. On the other hand, Wang Hai, as a gold medal drug dealer who both takes and sells drugs himself, knows his goods very well. Although Wang Hai felt a little regretful when he heard Xiong Yu only said one night, it also made him want to let Xiong Yu see the benefits of taking drugs and buy more drugs from him in the future. Wait a moment. Wang Hai immediately used his brains to think for Xiong Yu, and according to the other party's physical strength, he finally listed a list including painkillers, focus agents, stimulants, and physical strength injections. He sent the list to Xiong Yu, and then said, "They are all the best goods, with the smallest side effects as you requested. If you want them, I will give you a 10% discount." Looking at the list with a total price of 5,800, Xiong Yu sighed in his heart. This good medicine is really not cheap. It's good that I only eat it for one night. After spending all kinds of food, transportation, Tianlingguan plus, clock, and other expenses during this period, as well as the new month's 15,000 loan, 1,500 rent, and several hundred yuan for water and electricity, Xiong Yu's savings have dropped to more than 45,000. Now, after deducting 5,800, there will only be more than 39,000 left. Alas, poor Xiong Yu transferred the money to Wang Hai, waiting for Wang Hai to deliver the goods. With the express delivery efficiency of Songyang City, he should be able to receive the goods within an hour. At this moment, he received a message from Zhang Pianpian, who sent the website for the assessment application. Songyang City Inspection Department Divine Assistant Recruitment Registration. The inspection department is one of the 8 divine departments. Xiong Yu saw that the recruitment requirements, job content, and benefits were also listed above. He meets all the recruitment requirements. The job content is patrol inspection, ensuring public order. In short, it is written quite vaguely, and Xiong Yu does not know what it specifically does. And this treatment. The weekly work hours are required to be 18 hours, and the salary is 1,000 yuan per month. Less than 14 yuan per hour, and you still need to take an exam for this job. Xiong Yu sighed that it was good that he was the one who got a free ride. Just based on his understanding of Kung Fu, the status of a job can be completely evaluated by the hourly wage. A job with an hourly wage of less than 14 yuan. Can it really protect him in front of the student union? The hourly wage of this job reveals a feeling of poverty and humility. He was afraid that Zhang Pianpian had given the wrong website, so he couldn't help but send a message to Zhang Pianpian, asking the other party his questions. And Zhang Pianpian only replied, "No matter how low the status is, it still belongs to the 8 main gods. And whether an identity is useful or not depends on who uses it." The monthly money is a bit low, but some hidden good benefits are not written in the recruitment book. For example, after joining the job, you can get a lushu for work for free. And after becoming a divine assistant, you can get a discount if you learn talismans. Xiong Yu's eyes lit up when he saw this, and he was thoughtful. If these benefits are added, then this job is indeed very unusual. So he submitted the application on the website and wrote Zhang Pianpian's name in the recommender column. A moment later, Xiong Yu received a notice to participate in the assessment at 9 am tomorrow. Xiong Yu couldn't help but feel a little emotional after finishing all this. The channels, jobs, identities, and news that Zhang Pianpian told him today were all unknown to him in the past. This reminded him of the memory of the original owner Xiong Yu, who participated in the high school interview almost without knowing anything, only to find that not only in terms of wealth, talent, and ability, but also in terms of information and intelligence, there was a huge gap with urban candidates, and he didn't even figure out the direction of his efforts. Sorting out his thoughts, Xiong Yu waited for the express delivery while meditating and practicing the wild bull soul suppressing heart technique. Because the heavenly martial heart refining technique requires practicing boxing while running the mental method, he mainly practiced the wild bull soul suppressing heart technique in the rented house. In a blink of an eye, more than 40 minutes passed, and the spirit realm mask sent by Zhang Pianpian and the potion packed by Wang Hai arrived, one after another. Xiong Yu wanted to run to the unfinished building to practice with the package of medicine. But thinking about the preciousness of the spirit realm mask, he decided to carry it with him. Arriving at the unfinished building, Xiong Yu successively took all the painkillers, focus agents, and stimulants that Wang Hai helped him prepare, and then injected a tube of physical strength injection into his arm. A moment later, Xiong Yu only felt that his whole body was starting to heat up, and the blood in his body erupted like rolling magma, making him feel that his physical strength was endless at this moment, with inexhaustible strength. Boom. With a punch, he began to practice the heavenly martial heart refining technique frantically. It originally took 14 minutes to complete a set of heavenly martial heart refining technique, but at this moment, under the urging of the medicine, Xiong Yu's hands and feet brought up a touch of afterimage, and it only took 6 minutes to complete the 9 sets of martial arts of the heavenly martial heart refining technique. Moreover, in this process, his muscles did not feel any soreness, and his breathing did not have any panting. In the process of cultivation, Xiong Yu had only one feeling. Too fierce. Wang Hai's medicine is really too fierce. These 5,800 are worth it. Teacher Wang. Taking medicine is really more useful than natural body refining. After 1 hour, Xiong Yu was practicing wildly. After 2 hours, Xiong Yu was still practicing. After 5 hours, Xiong Yu still didn't stop. He practiced so vigorously and without any pause all night, until 7 o'clock in the morning when Xiong Yu suddenly felt a burst of exhaustion and could no longer support himself. He sat down abruptly, feeling his heart beating as if it was about to fly out, and his internal organs were also aching for a while, until more than 10 minutes later, when he gradually recovered. The medicine is over. Recalling the painful feeling from his body just now, Xiong Yu thought to himself, this strength is too fierce, my internal organs are not completely healed yet, this medicine really can't be taken too much. However, the results of such a night of crazy cultivation today are also fruitful. Not only did his physical strength increase from 1.33 to 1.35, but his Tao heart increased to level 3, and of course, the most important thing was that the heavenly martial heart refining technique increased to level 6. At this moment, when Xiong Yu once again used the heavenly martial mind, he felt that all fear and shrinking away from him. No matter how difficult the road ahead, he would break through to the end and tear a path with his own hands. After eating breakfast and returning to the rented house, he rested until 8:50. Xiong Yu put on the spirit realm mask, ran the heavenly martial heart refining technique, and then connected to the assessment website. When the time came to 9 o'clock, Xiong Yu only felt a ray of light flash in the darkness, and he had come to another world. Xiong Yu! Xiong Yu! Xiong Yu! Accompanied by shouts, Xiong Yu woke up with a start, only to hear laughter erupt in the classroom. He looked up at the teacher's platform and saw the teacher glaring at him coldly. Go stand outside. Xiong Yu stood up helplessly and walked out of the classroom. Day after day of high school life, he felt no hope. His grades were getting worse and worse, his ranking lower and lower, dropping from the demonstration class to the worst class. Whether it was classmates or teachers, the way they looked at him was as if they were looking at a bucket of garbage. The various loans he had taken out in order to cultivate the immortal Tao were increasing, making it difficult for him to breathe. Finally, one day, he walked to the school rooftop. Just as he was about to take a step forward, his phone rang. Xiong Yu answered the phone, and heard the person on the other end say, "Hello. Is this Mr. Xiong Yu? A new cemetery has opened in the northern suburbs. For only 200,000, you can enjoy corpse refining services after death, with a chance to live again." Xiong Yu laughed in spite of himself. Your big data is really good at calculating, even guessing that I'm about to jump off a building. Too bad it didn't calculate that I'm penniless now, and can't afford your grave. The other party continued, if you're penniless, don't you want to turn things around? Our company has a heaven-mending plan. If you're interested in learning more, I'll send it to you. Xiong Yu hung up the phone, and continued to look at the abyss-like darkness beneath his feet. Turn things around. After a moment of silence, he finally opened his phone again, and looked at the website the other party had sent. A bear doll appeared on the screen and said, make a wish to the gods. As long as you set up a ritual for me, your every wish can be realized in 5 minutes. Completely free, 0 threshold, rejecting all extra charges. Click once to give your life a new look. Looking at this scene, Xiong Yu felt something, some painful memories, rushing back and forth in his head, but he couldn't remember what it was. It was a kind of anger from being constantly forced, constantly tortured, and constantly forced to endure hardship. Before those painful memories could break out of their cocoons, his emotions and instincts had already reacted. Damn! Xiong Yu roared, throwing his phone away, then raising a middle finger. Ha ha ha, trying to trick me. In your next life. Xiong Yu's consciousness stagnated, and the next moment he woke up in the classroom again. But the memories and emotions about the evil god were becoming more and more intense, gradually reminding him of something. I remember, I'm participating in the staff assessment for the Divine Auxiliary. This assessment seems to be related to the evil god. Xiong Yu felt that he understood the key to this assessment, and decided to perform well in it. Sun Jieyi's heart was very proud. Because he was not human, but a god. Although he was only one of the 480 million, meritorious, minor gods in the inspection department, he was still a god, with the power to review people. Although he was only reviewing the assessment for outsourced work with an hourly wage of 14 yuan, he had always been conscientious and worked diligently. This is a god. Even in humble positions, gods never dare to forget the worries of Kongshu. At this moment, in front of Sun Jieyi, were screens lighting up one after another, constantly playing the content of one assessment after another. It was a test of the applicant's instinctive reaction to the temptation of the evil god, in the illusion of the spiritual realm. Whether the outsourced staff members of the inspection department could withstand the temptation of the evil god, in the illusion, was the key to passing the assessment. This candidate from Tian City, what does it mean to write down his family's assets and background in his resume? What if you have assets of over 100 million? Failing is failing. Do you think I would be partial because of your family background? Sun Jieyi sneered, dismissing it with disdain. Seeing the other party hesitating in the illusion, he directly chose to reject him. Weak-willed and qualified. Sun Jieyi was a proud god, and the more superior the students he rejected, the more he could feel his own pride as a god, and enjoy the satisfaction of fulfilling his responsibilities. His mind turned to the next candidate from Hong'an City. The applicant's resume was filled with various honors from the first and second years of high school, a top student in the grade, a frequent competitor, with dazzling talent, outstanding ability, unlimited potential, and a high probability of being admitted to top universities, or even joining a major sect. But watching the other party struggle back and forth in the illusion, taking a full 10 minutes to barely reject the temptation of the evil god, Sun Jieyi still mercilessly chose to reject him. HMPH, do you think I'll show mercy just because you have a promising future and a shiny resume? I'm not those vulgar people who only care about grades. Even if you are really a proud son of heaven like a college student, if you fall into my hands, I'll say you failed, and you failed. It took so long to reject, which shows a weak will. How can I let you pass? His mind turned again, and this time Xiong Yu's information and assessment content appeared in front of Sun Jieyi. He decisively threw away his phone on the rooftop. Not bad. The difficulty will increase next. I wonder what will happen. Next, the scenes on the screen changed back and forth, and various evil god temptation methods were used on Xiong Yu in turn. There was a beautiful woman who wanted Xiong Yu to make a wish to the evil god with her. Xiong Yu kicked her away and fled quickly. There were people chasing him, and he was desperate. The evil god tempted him to come and save him. Xiong Yu dismissed it and turned around and threw the evil god doll at his enemies, then shouted, "Good stuff. You can wish for anything with this thing." There was a huge rag doll chasing Xiong Yu, threatening him with terrifying power, and wanting to make a contract with him. Xiong Yu ran away, while calling the police. After the constables arrived, he even wanted to rush up and fight the evil god with them. But Sun Jieyi in front of the screen was no longer watching his active performance, because someone had contacted Sun Jieyi. Looking at Zhang Pianpian, who popped up in the contact window, as well as her identity as the acting deputy captain of the inspection team of Songyang City, he frowned slightly and said, "What's the matter, fellow Taoist?" Zhang Pianpian said, "There is a candidate named Zhang Yu, I hope." Sun Jieyi waved his hand to refuse, but saw that the other party had already activated the Lu Shu and directly cast a talisman. "You dare to cross the spiritual realm and directly cast a talisman on me, a dignified meritorious god. How dare you?" But when he saw the specific talisman that the other party cast, Sun Jieyi immediately relaxed. "It's a goodwill talisman." Goodwill talisman, a talisman that can quickly increase the goodwill of gods. The specific working principle is that it does not need the name of the god, no information, and does not need to know the other party's account. As long as the goodwill talisman is activated, when contacting the other party, the money can be directly transferred to the other party's account, and the transfer record will be automatically hidden. Perceiving the effect of this goodwill talisman, Sun Jieyi's original serious expression became relaxed. "I didn't expect you, a mere mortal from the lower realm, to be quite knowledgeable about talismans. You even learn the Goodwill talisman. After noticing the changes in the numbers in his account, a smile appeared on his face, and he exclaimed, "A high school student is so respectful to the gods, which shows a firm belief. What do you want me to do?" Xiong was not surprised by this. Based on her experience in using Lu, Shu, and learning talismans in the past 2 years, the level of faith depends on recharging, learning talismans depends on recharging, and asking righteous gods for guidance depends on recharging. So talismans are recharging. It's just that recharging for the gods also pays attention to methods. Recharging with Lu Shu, private transfers, public transfers, Goodwill talismans. Various channels can be said to be worlds apart, which involves the level of talismans. Xiong said, "Please, great God, lower the difficulty of Zhang Yu's assessment a little bit." Sun Jiayi didn't care and said, "Hey, what difficulty can there be in assessing a job that pays 14 yuan an hour?" In the illusion, Zhang Yu looked at the world in front of him, his eyes full of confusion. He was now in a white room. A line of words floated in the center of the room. "The evil god tempts you, will you accept it?" The options yes and no floated below. Isn't this a trick question? Because the question seemed too simple, Zhang Yu couldn't answer. After thinking for a full 10 minutes and not being able to detect where the trap was, Zhang Yu nervously chose no, with a tense face. The notification that he had passed the assessment appeared in front of him the next moment. Zhang Yu, who was at a loss, withdrew from the spiritual realm, still not quite clear what had happened. Just then, his phone rang. Jiang Yu answered the phone, and Zhang Pianpian's voice came from the other end. "You should have passed the exam, right?" Zhang Yu immediately told her the doubts in his heart. Zhang Pianpian explained, "Oh, I gave the meritorious minor god on duty a sum of money to lower the difficulty of the assessment a little bit." "Is that a little bit? Is this a god?" Zhang Yu was shocked. "You can bribe the gods with money?" "Zhang Pianpian, how is that possible?" Zhang Yu was about to breathe a sigh of relief when Zhang Pianpian continued, "Spending money only makes it possible to bribe the gods. Specifically, it depends on how much you spend and how you spend it, which is related to the level of talismans." Zhang Yu, "But that's a god. In Kungshu, gods are paid to do things. This is how money can connect with gods." Zhang Pianpian took it for granted. Without money, how can the 8 main gods operate Kungshu? How can they govern the world? Zhang Yu was speechless again, and could only say that he had a deeper understanding of Kungshu. Remembering what the other party had said before, Zhang Yu asked again, "Didn't you say that this assessment tests Dao, heart, and will?" Zhang Pianpian said lightly, "Yes, you need to have enough Dao heart, enough will, and be able to persevere until I find a way in the spiritual realm to find the meritorious god on duty who is responsible for your assessment, and transfer the money to his account with a talisman." She continued, "Okay, I have brought out your work permit and work Lu Shu. Let's meet at the gate of your high school. Now, we can talk to the student union of Songyang High School." So Zhang Yu quickly dragged his tired body onto the bus. An hour and a half later, he arrived at the school station and saw Zhang Pianpian standing at the intersection from afar. She handed Zhang Yu something that was black and white and looked like a manual. "This is your work, Lu Shu. You have the right to use talismans for free once a day, and you can get a discount on learning the talismans of the inspection department through this Lu Shu." She pointed to the strange symbols on the Lu Shu and said, "The Lu Shu has the mark of the inspection department. You can show it when you encounter trouble." Jiang Yu carefully held it up and thought to himself, "This is the Lu Shu. The cheapest one costs almost 100,000, right?" Lu Shu is a key to learning talismans, and talismans are related to high school Taoist skills. Zhang Yu had heard that some high school students even mortgage their organs in order to buy Lu Shu. This thing is actually issued as soon as you come in. This inspection department is really rich. If Jen sees this, wouldn't she kneel down and call me daddy, begging me to let her play with it? Songyang High School. Students from Class 1, Grade 1, gradually entered the training ground, preparing for today's martial arts combat class. While walking, Bai Zhenzhen thought to herself, "What's Yuzi up to? I can't get in touch with him. Still on sick leave. What high schooler takes sick leave? Could it be that he couldn't handle it anymore?" Just as Bai Zhenzhen was lost in thought, she suddenly noticed that in addition to the martial arts teacher, Lei Jin, a large group of people was already standing in the training room. Looking at the students behind Lei Jun, especially the tallest one, Bai Junjin's gaze suddenly sharpened. Is that door panel man? Looking at the students around door panel man Lanling, Bai Junjin immediately recognized them as second-year students. An extra year of cultivation had made almost every second-year student more muscular than the first-year students, and their secondary sexual characteristics had almost completely faded away. On their exposed arms, one could even see dense needle marks. All these traces of cultivation indicated the strength and diligence of these second-year students. Of course, Bai Zhenjin wasn't the only one who recognized their identities. Soon, students took the initiative to greet these second-year students. Zhao Tianqing first bowed respectfully to the martial arts teacher, Lei Jun, and then bowed honestly to the second-year students, saying cautiously, "Hello, seniors." The formerly 300-plus-pound Zhao Tianqing now looked like a corgi standing in front of Lanling. Only after seeing Lanling nod did Zhao Tianqing carefully retreat. This was the subordinate position of lower-grade students when facing upper-grade students within the high school. Simply because each grade first, second, and third had a full year of cultivation difference, which often led to an absolute difference in strength. Some even divided the first, second, and third grades into the early, middle, and late stages of ki refining, highlighting the differences between the three grades. It was common at Songyang High School for lower grade students to greet upper grade students first. Lower grades couldn't sit until the upper grades sat down. If you ran into an upperclassman in the bathroom, you had to let them pee first. When injecting medicine in the same room, you had to let the upperclassmen inject first. Things like this had already become part of the high school students' daily habits. Of course, Songyang High School was still more humane than the three famous schools. It was said that at White Dragon High School, upper grade students could even make lower grade students kneel and kowtow. Fortunately, the course content for different grades was vastly different, and the teaching venues were also different. In addition, the pressure of schoolwork meant that lower and upperclassmen didn't have many opportunities to meet. This was truly gratifying, truly gratifying. At this moment, every student who entered the training ground actively bowed and greeted Lan, Ling, and the others. This further highlighted one person's uniqueness. Zhao Tianqing looked at Bai Zhenjin, who had not greeted the upperclassmen, and secretly worried for her. What's wrong with Zhen? She'll be targeted by the seniors if she does that. He could already feel several second-year seniors glancing at Bai Zhenjin from time to time. Just imagining himself in her place made him feel embarrassed and nervous. After all the students from Class 1, Grade 1, had arrived, Lei Jun said to them, "Today, your seniors from Class 1, Grade 2, have specially taken time out of their class to give you practical guidance. Let's welcome them with applause." What? To be beaten by second-year academic masters? Hearing this, the students clapped excitedly. "Thank you, seniors." Some academic masters were already smiling, thinking happily, these are students from the second-year demonstration class. If you were to hire them for practical training outside, wouldn't a class cost thousands? Some students eager to improve their practical combat scores were already impatient, thinking to themselves, being guided by a second-year academic master, even if it means breaking an arm, is worth it. Tianxin's eyes were fixed on Lanling, who was the tallest, like a door panel, and thought to himself, Lanling, the man who was second in total score, and first in individual sports, in the second grade last month, the eights of the second grade sports competition team, but boring. Tian Shen turned his head away. There's no point in comparing scores across grades. These second-year students in the demonstration class have been cultivating for a year longer. Anyone who stands out as invincible to first-year students, so it makes no difference to us. He Daiyu simply nodded and smiled at the second-year students, taking it as a greeting. After all, as the son of a school director, he was acquainted with many of the academic masters in the second and third grades. Lei Jun looked at the eager expressions of most of the students and was very satisfied with their mental state. Very good, you're all very energetic. Taoist techniques require money, and the more money you spend, the more powerful they become. If we want to be good at martial arts, then we have to take a beating. The more unafraid you are of losing, of being beaten, of being abused, the faster your martial arts combat will improve. Only by taking beatings again and again, being abused again and again, and getting up from the ground again and again can you improve your practical experience. Seeing that some students below were already impatiently raising their hands, Lei Jun was about to call on someone, to arrange a sparring match when he saw Lan Ling lean over and say something in his ear. Lei Jun nodded and looked at Bai Zhenjin, who was hiding behind the crowd, and called out, "Bai Zhenjin, you go and have a match with the seniors first, to set an example for the other students." Lan Ling, this Bai Zhenjin is a good seed, who is first in practical combat, in the first grade. Give her some good guidance. Lan Ling, while practicing with the barbell in his right hand, slowly came down to the field, and said to Bai Zhenjin gently, "Junior, let's spar." Bai Zhenjin's face darkened, and she slowly walked up amidst the envious gazes of everyone, but in her heart, she had already cursed the door panel man to hell. That damn shrimp head man, he's obviously up to no good, taking the opportunity to beat up his junior because of the contract, right? She guessed that the other party's next battle would probably not be as simple as sparring, but would take the opportunity to teach her a good lesson. A preemptive strike. As soon as Bai Zhenjin entered the arena, she shot out like an arrow, kicking towards Lan Ling's lower abdomen, the vital point of his dantian. But she saw that the other party didn't dodge at all, letting her kick him there with a bang. Even though it was Lan Ling's vital point that was kicked, his expression didn't change, and he didn't take a step back, as if nothing had happened. On the contrary, Bai Zhenjin felt as if she had kicked a granite rock, and her foot bones felt like they were about to crack. Is the gap between me and the second grade this big? Just as Bai Zhenjin was about to retreat, she felt her ankle being grabbed by a hand as strong as iron tongs. Lan Ling pinched Bai Zhenjin's ankle and smiled, "Junior, you seem to underestimate me too much." At the same time as the two were fighting, Lei Jun was also making comments to the students. Good sneak attack. Remember, sneak attacks are a great skill in actual combat. It's the best choice for the weak to defeat the strong. But Bai Zhenjin knows too little about Lan Ling. Lan Ling has already completed the absolute sterilization surgery. Not only does he no longer have any gender characteristics and is not affected by hormones, but he also doesn't have many conventional weaknesses. Now that Bai Zhenjin has been locked up by Lan Ling, although she keeps kicking and hitting him, trying to break free, Lan Ling's physical strength is above level 6, and Bai Zhenjin's physical strength is only a little over level 1.4, right? Being locked up is already the end. Halfway through his comments, Lei Jun suddenly erupted with a bang, and his figure shot out like lightning. At the same time, a loud bang was heard in the air. In the shocked eyes of everyone, Bai Zhenjin had been thrown out by Lan Ling, crashing into the wall of the training ground with a series of afterimages. But just as Bai Zhenjin's head was about to hit, Lei Jun had already appeared behind Bai Zhenjin, and the two of them crashed through the wall together, flying out of the training ground with a bang. A moment later, Lei Jun returned to the training ground with a limping Bai Zhenjin, looking at Lan Ling with a rather unsightly expression. "Did you hit too hard?" Bai Zhenjin was one of the students with the best martial arts combat scores in the first grade. If she was seriously injured, it would be a decline in performance for Lei Jun. Lan Ling smiled gently. "I believe that with you here, teacher, she will be fine." It's a good opportunity to give Junior a lesson on underestimating the enemy in actual combat. After saying that, he looked at Bai Zhenjin and said, "Junior, have you remembered this practical experience? Shall we continue?" Looking at the other party making an invitation again, anger had already appeared in Bai Zhenjin's eyes, and a long hidden force within her was stirring, as if it was about to break out of its cocoon. She thought to herself, "No, I can't expose it. If I expose it here, it's over." Lei Jun was about to stop her, but he was suppressed in place by a look from Lan Ling. "Teacher, I will pay attention to my limits next." Although Lei Jun had some guesses before, he was finally able to confirm it at this moment. Thinking of the student council's request earlier that Bai Zhenjin and Xiong Yu not participate in the martial arts competition, he understood that this was also the student council's intention today. Thinking of the student council of Songyang High School, he could only sigh secretly and warned, "This is my class. Don't go too far." Lan Ling smiled. "Don't worry, teacher. Bai Zhenjin is an important high-value student of the school. I will definitely not let her be seriously injured." At this time, the other first-year students around had also noticed that the atmosphere was not right, but they still couldn't understand what was happening. Dai's eyes moved slightly. As the son of the school director, he had already seen that this was suppressing Bai Zhenjin. Did something go wrong with signing the contract? Were they trying to lower Bai Zhenjin's price? Thinking of this, he felt a little regretful that Xiong Yu was not here today, otherwise, he might have been able to see the poor guy's embarrassment. Just then, a male voice came from the direction of the training grounds door. "Hey, are you bullying my intern?" In the surprised and unexpected gazes of everyone, Zhang Yu walked in from outside the door, raising his right hand as he spoke, his fingertips quickly swiping across the black and white talisman book. "Arrest warrant activate." In the next moment, countless golden light spots flashed around Lan Ling, turning into golden giant hands grabbing at him. Just as Lan Ling was about to move, his head, shoulders, arms, legs, and waist had already been pressed down by 9 golden giant hands respectively. "Arrest warrant." "Zhang Yu, this poor ghost, where did he get the talisman book to cast the arrest warrant?" Feeling these 9 giant hands suppressing him tightly, even wanting to press him to the ground bit by bit, Lan Ling was furious. Listening to Nova roar. With a roar of rage, Lan Ling's muscles swelled, and terrifying force erupted from within him, resisting the oppression of the arrest warrant. "You're quite strong." Zhang Yu slowly walked up to Lan Ling, watching as the other man's blood and ki surged, gradually breaking free from the arrest warrant. Zhang Yu flicked the official document marked with the patrol department seal, and smiled. "The patrol department acts under divine authority. Are you resisting? Are you opposing the gods?" Seeing the patrol department's document, Lan Ling's eyes narrowed, a hint of disbelief flashing within them. "This pauper joined the patrol department?" The next moment, with a crash, he broke free of the arrest warrant, but he didn't dare move rashly, only looking at Zhang Yu with a scrutinizing gaze, as if evaluating him. Seeing that Lan Ling was no longer fighting, Zhang Yu grinned triumphantly at Bai Zhenjin, in the distance, thinking to himself, "I must look so cool today." Bai Zhenjin stared intently at the document in Zhang Yu's hand, thinking, "Where did you pick up that document? I must borrow it to play with." The crowd watched as Zhang Yu suddenly appeared, repelling Lan Ling with an arrest warrant, and they were all astonished. He Doi looked at the scene with some suspicion. "How did Zhang Yu get into a divine department?" Zhao Tianxing felt both nervous and afraid Zhang Yu actually bought an official document. Did he take today off to pawn his organs? But the next moment, he shook his head violently, ashamed of his focus. Is this the time to be thinking about that? How did Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin get into a conflict with a second-year senior? That's the real problem. Despite his words, Zhao Tianxing's gaze towards Zhang Yu still revealed a hint of envy, and an idea couldn't help but spring to mind. That kind of direct confrontation with a second-year senior is actually kind of cool. Qian Shen stared at the document in Zhang Yu's hand, shocked. Zhang Yu's Daoist Arts exam score is going to increase. Just as Zhang Yu and Lan Ling locked eyes and the atmosphere became increasingly tense, the temperature of the entire training ground suddenly began to drop. Lan Ling, who had just been exercising vigorously, even had white vapor rising from his body due to the temperature difference. He glared at Zhang Yu and snorted, then slowly retreated, turning his head towards the direction of the main entrance. "President." The crowd looked in the direction he was speaking. Accompanied by a series of footsteps, Zhichecheng slowly walked in, stepping on the frost beneath his feet. Student Council Vice President Zhichecheng, who gave a speech as a student representative at the beginning of the semester, and appeared on the big screen and radio every month for his outstanding achievements. He was the student among students, the senior among seniors, and his appearance silenced the entire venue. He Dai was the first to react, bowing to Zhichecheng and saying, "Hello, senior." This seemed to be a signal, as almost all of the first-year students bowed in unison, saying, "Hello, senior." The second-year students on the other side also bowed and shouted, "Hello, president." Although nominally the vice president of the student council, with the president of the student council in his third year, busy preparing for the college entrance exam, Zhichecheng was effectively making all the decisions for the student council. Whether it was strength, grades, wealth, or authority, he was the uncrowned king of the school. Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin looked at Zhichecheng before them as if they were seeing a king receiving the worship of his subjects, and they were the only two students present who didn't lower their heads. Zhichecheng didn't speak to Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin first, but looked at the second-year students present, the frost around him becoming increasingly dense. "Xiong Yupeng, you were the first in total score and first in combat in your first year. What do you think of the fight between Bai Zhenjin and Lan Ling just now?" From behind the many second-year students, a second-year student who was relatively smaller in stature stepped forward. Under the gaze of the crowd, he didn't seem to know where to put his hands, grabbing his hair and picking at his ears from time to time, his eyes full of fear, as he looked at Zhichechen. He said cautiously, careless and underestimating the enemy, arrogant and conceited, not recognizing the gap in strength. Looking at Shuang Yupeng's timid appearance, Zhang Yuan by Zhenzhen felt like they were seeing a dog wagging its tail in front of Zhichechen. Shuang Yupeng, who had once taken first place in the first year, was now completely devoid of his past spirit. Zhu Shechen nodded slightly and said, I think this year's first-year students are not as smart as you were back then, when it comes to fighting. Shuang Yupeng quickly waved his hand and said, You flatter me, President, you flatter me. Zhu Shechen turned his head to look at the first-year students and asked indifferently, Have you thanked your senior for his guidance? The many first-year students immediately bowed and said, Thank you for your guidance, senior. In a short time, Zhu Shechen seemed to have become the center of the entire venue, all the students' minds being swayed by his every move, every word, every look. Only then did Zhu Shechen look directly at Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin, and said lightly, Zhang Yu, Bai Zhenjin, Lan, Ling, we're having a normal teaching spar. Why did you use an arrest warrant to attack your senior? As he spoke, he slowly raised his palm, and strands of icy blue chill emerged from his palm, causing the surrounding temperature to drop sharply again. Zhu Chechen continued, whether it's using an arrest warrant in school, or this kind of disrespectful behavior towards elders, as the vice president of Songyang High School's student council, I cannot tolerate it. Zhang Yu's eyes flickered, and he raised the official document in his hand, saying, Zhu Chechen, are you going to attack a divine assistant from the patrol department? Zhu Shechen lowered his eyelids slightly, a hint of a smile seeming to appear at the corner of his mouth. In his eyes, the heavenly eye talisman had already revealed the evaluation above Zhang Yu's head. Songyang City Patrol Team outsourced employee. The patrol team is just an outsourced company, a tiny position. How dare you act wildly in Songyang High School? Just as the cold energy in Zhu Chechen's palm was about to erupt, a warm wind suddenly blew from all directions, not only dispersing the chill in the training ground, but also restoring the temperature to normal. Jiang Pianpian and another man walked into the training ground from outside the gate. You want to attack the temporary workers under me? Zhu Chechen suddenly turned his head to look, and when he saw Jiang Pianpian's face, his eyes froze. Jiang Pianpian. Why is she here? Is she here to support Zhang Yu? Zhang Pianpian. Zhang Yu. They both have the same surname, Zhang. Are they relatives? However, Zhu Chechen remembered that he had checked Zhang Yu's information, and Zhang Yu didn't have such powerful relatives at all. If Zhang Yu really had such powerful relatives backing him, how could he have dealt with Zhang Yu so easily? Zhu Chechen thought again, or Zhang Yu found himself a master who offered a higher price and has already become Zhang Pianpian's dog. Looking at the chill in Zhu Chechen's hand that hadn't dissipated, Zhang Pianpian continued to walk step by step towards the center of the field. Ha! Didn't you hear what I said? Or do you want to be my enemy? As Zhang Pianpian spoke, her right index finger gently lifted, and the talisman naturally flew to the tip of her finger. In the next moment, Zhang Pianpian's fingertip quickly swiped across the talisman. Bai Zhenjin looked at this scene in surprise. Her eyes swept over the school uniform on Zhang Pianpian's body, from White Dragon High School. What is she going to do? Is she going to fight Zhu Chechen? Zhang Yu was also shocked. Is she going to fight directly? What kind of talisman is she going to use? Could it also be a confinement talisman? Just as everyone was watching nervously, Zhang Pianpian's talisman was completed, and a wave of mana surged out from it. Aura of a talisman activate. Two lines of words suddenly appeared above Zhang Pianpian's head. The latest novels are available first at 69 Shuba. The content of the first line is White Dragon High School, Senior Year 3, monthly exam total score 699 points. The many students who saw this score instantly widened their eyes and fell into deep shock. 699 points on the senior year monthly exam. Qian Shen roared in his heart, this is a god. The future god of the college entrance examination. Before everyone could be shocked by this score, the second line of words above Zhang Pianpian's head began to appear. Bank balance 2. At first, there was only a 2, but soon a 5 popped up after the 2. In this way, a digit would appear every second. 25,000. 250,000. 2.5 million. When the number jumped to 25 million, the students at the scene already felt their breathing become slightly rapid. At this moment, the students gradually understood what kind of talisman Xiong used. Aura of a talisman, respectfully requesting divine power to display scores and savings to intimidate others. When the number jumped to 250 million, everyone felt their blood surging in their bodies. When the number finally stopped at 2.5 billion, coupled with the 699 points in the previous line, everyone felt a wave of pressure coming towards them, like a mountain pressing on their chests. This is just the bank balance. Thinking of the assets represented by this number and the power of immortality, their hearts were stirred. Even Hidaru couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this number. Just the bank balance is 2.5 billion. What level has this woman's total assets reached? He couldn't help but take out the talisman and activate the heavenly eye talisman to see the other party's details. But as a result, he only saw 5 big characters above the other party's head. You are not worthy to know. The other party had hidden their foundation with a talisman, making it completely impossible for him to investigate. Seeing these 5 big characters, Hidaru's body shook, his face turned pale, and he was struck by lightning, as if he had seen a chasm standing in front of him and Xiong, making it impossible for him to cross it forever. Zhao Tianqing stared at the string of numbers above Xiong's head, constantly counting back and forth, but every time he counted halfway, he felt that he had counted wrong again. When he finally confirmed that it was 2.5 billion, he couldn't help but gasp. Too rich, the pressure from rich people is really strong. At this moment, Zhao Tianqing felt ashamed of himself, and felt that he was not worthy to stand in the same room as the other party. Zhang Yu was also shocked. Is this my rich older sister? That's not right. I don't remember our family being very rich. It should even be said that we are a family of paupers. Where did Xiong get so much money? Something's not right, something's very wrong. What did Xiong experience during the years she was separated from Zhang Yu? The question that had been around since the Divine Assistance examination had accumulated to its peak at this moment. How did she turn from a pauper into a rich person? I want to learn too. Zhang Yu couldn't figure out the reason, but no matter what, sister, why did you leave us? Mom and I are your own good children. On the other side, Chechechin also slowly dissipated the chill in his hand. His eyes swept over the score, savings, and you are not worthy to know on the other party's head several times, in an imperceptible manner. Finally, he looked at Xiong politely, and said, Senior sister Zhang, you misunderstood. I didn't know Zhang Yu was your subordinate. If I had known, how could I have made things difficult for him? Seeing that his aura of a talisman had shocked the audience, Xiong nodded in satisfaction, and said, Very good, I hope you remember what you said today. Don't let me hear anything that is unfavorable to my subordinates, otherwise, I will use this pocket money to buy your brains. Your father should be happy to earn this money. Hearing this, the corner of Chechechin's eyes twitched, and he was speechless for a moment. Just as the scene fell silent with Xiong words, the man who had just entered with Xiong laughed, and said, Pian is just joking, junior brother Zhou, you don't have to take it to heart. The man who spoke was Chu Chengshuan, the number 1 senior in Songyang High School, and the real president of the student council. Bang! Zhu Shechin slammed his palm heavily on the desk, his eyes filled with a palpable murderous intent. He said, enunciating each word, Xiong, this woman simply disregards my Songyang, as if it were nothing. Being subjected to such pressure by Xiong today, he felt as if he could already see the gloating in the eyes of his junior classmates, and felt his prestige being severely undermined. Zhu Chechin turned his head abruptly, looking at Chengshuan, the president of the student council, and asked, President, are you just going to watch this woman run wild in Songyang? Chengshuan, while looking at the textbook in his hand and seizing the time to review, said casually, Jiang Pian, this woman, her background is unknown, her wealth is mysterious, and she's crazy. Why provoke her? In a little over half a year, she'll be entering university. By then, the upperclassmen will naturally deal with her. Seeing that the other party was still concentrating on reading, Zhu Chechin understood that Chengshuan's mind was now filled with the college entrance examination, university applications, and university interviews, and he had no intention of clashing with Xiong Pian, this crazy woman, for his sake. However, hearing what the other party said, a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Half a year, huh? Then I'll wait another half a year before dealing with Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin. But at this moment, in Jia Chechen's eyes, both Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin were nothing more than skeletons in a grave under Zhang Pianpian's protection, waiting for half a year to pass before he would strike ruthlessly. Now, the one Jia Chechen was truly targeting was Zhang Pianpian. Along with the boundless hatred and shame in his heart, he thought, university lasts for 10 years. By then, the difference of one grade won't be as big as it is in high school. Jiang Pianpian, I truly hope you can hold out until I get into university and catch up with you. Outside Songyang High School. Inside a private room in a tea house. Zhang Pianpian glanced around and said, there's no problem. We can speak safely here for now. Next, I have some things to tell you. Sis. Zhang Yu grabbed Zhang Pianpian excitedly. You're really my own sister. It's so great to have a sister. Just then, a bang was heard. Zhang Pianpian turned her head and saw that Bai Zhenjin had already knelt on the ground. Bai Zhenjin said solemnly, having received such great kindness today, if sister doesn't dislike me, I am willing to become your adopted daughter. From now on, I will be at your disposal. Zhang Yu said, no, she's my sister. Bai Zhenjin, it's okay, Yuzi, I don't stand on ceremony about these things. I'll call her adoptive mother in the future, and you can call me mom. Just as Bai Zhenjin and Zhang Yu were arguing, Zhang Pianpian said calmly, the bank balance data is fake. Ah. Seeing the two of them turn their heads sharply, Zhang Pianpian flicked her finger again and cast another spell, but this time the bank balance above her head was only 250,000. She explained indifferently, the pressure talisman I used before was a modified version of the talisman. It can display a fake bank balance. Zhang Yu was shocked. Talismans can be modified like that? It can even display a fake savings balance. Why haven't I ever heard of this in my Taoist arts class? Aren't we supposed to use the eightfold righteous gods as they were passed down? From my sister is a rich person to my sister is pretending to be a rich person, Zhang Yu was suddenly disappointed. Looking at their stunned expressions, Zhang Pianpian continued, if you want to deal with rich people, you must understand their characteristics. Rich people rely on money, so they understand the power of money best, are most easily driven by money, and are most easily intimidated by money. This is called using money to control money. And the foundation of these methods is information. To obtain information, modify information, and intercept information, you must rely on clever talismans. Talismans are the most powerful means you can learn in high school. Remember, talismans are the most useful and most powerful. Taoist arts and martial arts are not as useful as talismans. Zhang Yu looked at Zhang Pianpian, who had a serious expression and was starting to hype up talismans, and he could almost see the words talisman hype floating above her head. Although the 2.5 billion inheritance had turned into 250,000, Bai Zhenjin still hugged Zhang Pianpian enthusiastically and said sweetly, Mom, what should we do next? Zhang Yu, watching Bai Zhenjin's sweet appearance, only felt a chill run down his spine, as if he had seen a 1,000-year-old zombie awaken. Zhang Pianpian said calmly, there's still half a year until the college entrance examination. After the examination, I'll be going to a university on the second level of Kongshu. In other words, the time I can protect you is only half a year. After half a year, without my protection, the student council of Songyang High School will definitely attack you. And there's another point. You have to understand that the reason I can protect you now is because they think I'm a rich person like them. They think you've been signed by me and that you won't be taking the top 10 university entrance exam. Once they know you're going to take the top 10 exam, they won't care about my protection anymore, and the methods they use will be 100 times more cruel than they are now. So, saying this, Zhang Pianpian looked directly into Bai Zhenjin's eyes, as if trying to see through all her inner thoughts. What are your plans? Wait to die? Or prepare to escape Songyang City? Or risk being crushed to pieces to take the top 10 exam? Bai Zhenjin met Zhang Pianpian's gaze without flinching, her expression also becoming serious. I want to get into the top 10 universities. Zhang Pianpian then looked at Zhang Yu. Zhang Yu said, sis, don't beat around the bush. Ah Shen and I have wills of steel and are determined to get into the top 10 universities. Just tell us what we need to do. Zhang Pianpian nodded slightly, then said, you're too weak. Seeing their dissatisfied expressions, Zhang Pianpian said calmly, if you want to get into the top 10 as poor students, your current strength is far from enough, let alone breaking through the methods used by the rich to block you. First, become the strongest first-year students in Xiong City. When the two of you have taken the top 2 spots in all the remaining first-year competitions, and become the strongest first-year students in Xiong, I'll tell you what to do next. Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin were both shocked upon hearing this. All the remaining first-year competitions? That means they have to surpass all the first-year students, including those from the 3 famous schools, in Dao Heart, Physical Strength, Martial Arts, and Taoist Arts. Especially the Taoist Arts competition, that thing is simply a natural counter to poor people. The most new small say at 6'9" book bar first hair. Fortunately, the Taoist Arts competition is at the final stage of the first year. The closest one is the martial arts competition, in which both of them have some advantages. Next, Zhang Pianpian had Bai Zhenjin sign an internship contract with the Xiong City Patrol Team, completely confirming her identity as a patrol team member, and then let the two of them leave first. Bai Zhenjin stayed behind, rubbing her hands together constantly, her face full of embarrassment. That what? Zhang Pianpian asked in confusion, what? Bai Zhenjin curled her index finger, and pointed to Zhang Yu, who was playing with the talisman book, with a sweet smile on her face. That talisman book, do interns get one? Zhang Pianpian shook her head. The patrol department isn't extravagant enough to equip interns with talisman books. By the way, don't reveal the relationship between me and Zhang Yu to others. Also, I've already arranged for Mom and Dad to go to a safe village. You don't have to worry about them. Zhang Yu's figure paused slightly upon hearing this, and he nodded. Finally, after telling Bai Zhenjin and Zhang Yu to hurry back and seize the time to study and cultivate, Zhang Pianpian watched their departing figures from afar, and then made a phone call. A female voice came from the other side of the phone. Hello. Pian Bao. What's the matter? Zhang Pianpian, lend me some money. The other party asked curiously, aren't you trying to raise money to buy a heavenly spiritual root? Are you asking me to lend you money because you've raised enough? Zhang Pianpian explained, I ran into something today, and spent some money communicating with the gods. I won't be able to pay off this period's loan interest. The other party became even more curious. Oh. What happened that required you to communicate with the gods? Zhang Pianpian said indifferently, I helped that guy out. I originally just thought he had a good temperament and could live a life different from ordinary people, but I didn't expect to go this far. But Zhang Pianpian's gaze swept over Zhang Yu's head. Xiong City Patrol Team outsourced employee. Xiong City Patrol Team outsourced employee, ascetic sports specialist, Xiong City extremely poor population, loan slave, card slave. And when Zhang Pianpian's attention focused on, she only received one feedback in known potential, unable to define. Zhang Pianpian then turned her gaze to Bai Zhenjin. Xiong City Patrol Team intern. Xiong City Patrol Team intern, sword critic, fist critic, palm critic, knife critic, spear critic, medicine critic, score dominator, lone slave, card slave, Taoist arts are useless, theory, Xiong hater, she's very poor. And as Zhang Pianpian's fingertips slid repeatedly, after 2 consecutive talismans, a new word appeared before Bai Zhenjin's, Xiong City Patrol Team intern. Unknown new spiritual route, hidden evolutionary type, no relevant data available. As Zhang Pianpian's fingertips slid, a glimmer of light flashed on the talisman book, floating beside her hand. And when the talismans were completed, both the above Zhang Yu's head and the unknown new spiritual root above Bai Zhenjin's head had disappeared completely hidden. At the same time, Zhang Pianpian continued on the phone, they're more outstanding than I expected. Maybe they can keep up with my pace. On the other end of the phone, the woman said in surprise, oh? I've never heard anyone get such a high evaluation from you. I'm increasingly looking forward to meeting them. That's it for today's chapter. Don't forget to like and follow so you won't miss the next update. Thank you all for listening.